area director assistant for area A1 and currently is supporting 2 clubs as a club coach. In October this year, he coordinated a team of 8 Toastmasters and artistically put together and conducted a Speechcraft in one of the creative agency in Lodz in Poland. And I also find out that he has one blog called Toastmasters.pl, from where you can find many interesting facts about Toastmasters in Poland and many other interesting things about pathways and Toastmasters in general. But without any further ado, let me give the stage to Radek and tell you about Speechcraft. Radek.
Thank you very much, Adriana. Just a small correction from my side. The website is Toastmaster, like one.pl. And the rest was really brilliant from your side. Thank you very much once again. And to welcome everyone who decided to spend the next 60 minutes listening and taking active participation in this webinar. Speechcraft. What is Speechcraft? Look at the kind of definition. This is the workshop conducted by Toastmasters, by people from Toastmasters organization for the people outside of Toastmasters. What for? To learn them and develop their skills in public speaking area. What are the benefits for Speechcraft, looking from Toastmasters perspective? First of all, we've got the possibility to lead or conduct public speaking workshop. If we are bored to the routine and we are looking for some new opportunities and challenges, this is one of them. Second, this is the possibility to increase membership in your area. For example, if I am club coach, or even if I was not, this is the great opportunity to help board members from different clubs with increasing membership in their clubs. Third, this is one of DTM requirements. If someone is applying for Distinguished Toastmaster Award, this is one of requirements on this way. Fourth, we as Toastmasters are pretty used to the same environment. If we are meeting in the same club every week or every 2 weeks, it also happens. This is an opportunity to exercise with different audience, with strangers. And of course, it gives us the opportunity to learn something and give the feedback from non-Toastmasters people. Their perception can be really valuable. Generally about the Speechcraft, I would like to present it in 5 points, like idea, marketing, team, action, and goal. After each section, I am going to ask if there are any questions, just to make a kind of sum up before passing to the next section.
Radek, just one thing, you are not sharing.
Hope it is working now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Everything is all right.
Yes.
So, as I said, I'm going to go through these points: idea, marketing, team, action, and goal. And after every section, there will be opportunity to ask some questions, and I will do my best to answer them. About the idea. The idea is related to public speaking workshop with communication and leadership practicing by non-Toastmasters people. But what we should start with? We need some manuals, we need some books, we need some materials. And they all are available on toastmaster.org. When we go over there and we can just use the virtual shop, there is a possibility to order Speechcraft starter kit. This is the most valuable solution because we can buy some manuals like this separately, but it's cheaper and it's a completed material, this started. What we can find inside, for example, there are some coordinators guide, 3 of them. Except of that, there are 5 workbooks. Workbooks are the manuals which are for our participants to learn from them. We can find over there also some leaflets, some certificates for coordinator and participants, and also instruction for advisors. Who are advisors? I will explain it to you on the next slides. So generally, if you've got idea, this is great. However, except of that, we just need a material. If we think about Speechcraft, we need to have valid materials from Toastmasters organization. And as I said, they are available on toastmaster.org with the payment of $20. Of course, you can also use the opportunity to contact some district officers because there is always budget for supporting these initiatives. And you will learn when it would be possible to get them. And please remember, this package is going to be delivered from United States within 4 or maximally even 6 weeks. So if we've got a plan, we need to act quickly. So in the meantime, when the package is going to us, we can always do something in the meantime. All right, I would like to ask you if you've got any questions so far.
There are no questions in the chat, so please be active and ask questions in the chat during the presentations, and in these small breaks, I will read them loud. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go further. Marketing. Public speaking skills. This is something that come to mind of the people, especially the ones which are outside of Toastmasters. And generally, Speechcraft is for such people. Why think bigger? Because this is our mission. This is not only about public speaking. By the way, how many public speakers you know? How many people who would like to improve their communication skills are planning to be professional public speakers? Instead of that, this is way of attracting people, saying the words like, for example, we will help you to prepare to have easier expression of your thoughts in front of a group of people. Also, we are offering safe, friendly, and supportive environment. And generally, our mission as per Speechcraft is also introduction to Toastmasters organization, just to polish and improve the skills they gained during the workshops. This is really important because it can be the situation that, for example, people will be interested in effective presentation skills with gaining them, but generally they are not interested in joining any organization for this moment. Therefore, we decided to do it gradually. First, we offer what we've got with practicing, with spending time with them, explaining everything and engaging them in the exercises. And gradually, we implemented them Toastmasters word. Regarding the participant, it was made, the Speechcraft was performed in a company, one of companies in Łódź, with more or less 60 people. After sending information about the workshops, there were about 30 people willing to know something else, something more. And finally, we decided to work with 8 people group. The reasons are many. Generally, it was the limit of the room, of the venue. We had these workshops, and also about the time we had for that, including the time that this room was available in mentioned company. There is also time for some questions related to marketing actions.
Well, we have a question from the previous regarding the materials. Who is paying for the materials?
So as I said, if we order them by ourselves on the virtual shop on toastmaster.org, we pay for that. But always we can just be in touch with district officers, area directors, division directors, etc., and just ask them, because there is a budget for trainings, for projects like this in district, and we can learn a bit more. And instead of paying by ourselves, we can just have it paid by the district if we just obliged to, if we just decided to make a Speechcraft, to increase the membership and also to popularize Toastmasters organization.
Thank you. I have a question regarding the last example, I think in the marketing, and it asks which company. I will unmute the person to ask more precisely the question, please.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Irina Suvorova, Moscow, Russian. We are trying to introduce Speechcraft in Russia. Actually, in 2 weeks, the 6th of December will be our introductory meeting. And I have now actually 2 questions. Which company? It was my first question. It was real example with 60 people. Am I right?
Yes, I mean the people in general that were available on that time.
Mm-hmm.
And we were contacting them. Yep.
Corporation.
Excuse me?
It were people from corporation.
No, not corporation. It was a smaller company. I talked to the representative, and generally I didn't get, let's say, the permission to say the exact name of the company, but generally it was related to digital marketing services.
Okay, it's enough. Thank you very much. It is just for success stories from Europe for our information for Russian Toastmasters. And my second question is about budget. You mentioned that you can use the budget of district, but Russia is not in district now, as you maybe know. So how we can buy materials from the area's budget?
Good question. I think I will need some support maybe from Adriana.
Yes, I can help on that. Another example. So when I had prepared Speechcraft, I actually charged the company because the materials are not that expensive. So I took 25 euros per participant, and it was largely covering the materials. So I charged the company for which I was giving the Speechcraft, and like an 8 session or 6 or 8 session for 25 euros per person is really nothing.
Okay, I have another question about this procedure, Adriana, but let you
Okay, let's continue, please, and at the end of the session, we'll hear more questions or answers.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Now we are going to talk about the team, the project team. There are 4 main representatives. First of them is coordinator, second one is organizer, there is also advisor, and the special guest. Later on, I'm going to give you some details on that. And here it is. So the coordinator is the person who generally is responsible for building the team and assigning the roles in it. This is also somebody who holds the meeting, who leads this meeting as, for example, similar to be Toastmaster of the evening in Toastmaster Club. Of course, the role of coordinator is to open and close these meetings with some summary and appreciation of organizers, and participants. The other duties are preparing agenda and communicating through whole the team about any possible changes or changing roles or location or anything like this. Let's move to organizer. Organizer is a person who generally, in our case, was the representative from the company where the Speechcraft was performed. It is really important and I would say beneficial to have someone from, for example, HR department, because this is much easier to sell this idea and present it as the really good and beneficial project for the employees. And in our case, Justyna Szumińska was the organizer of these workshops, and due to the fact that she's responsible for training processes and also serves over there as HR manager, she was possible to explain in details how it looks like, what benefits are from that, how many people are, let's say, required as a minimum, for example, and what time is required to lead these workshops. She also looked after the venue and about the communication with participants, because she is working with them day by day. Advisor. Advisor is someone similar to mentor in Toastmasters world. Generally, we had 4 advisors because we had 8 people, and every advisor have the 2 proteges to help them to support and develop their skills. Generally, as you can see on the slide, was responsible for answering questions and preparing them with the homework for the next session. Of course, advisor must have been present at every meeting just to see the progress, just to be able to share his or her feedback to the participants. And of course, this person was not only in touch with participants during the meeting, but first of all, before it and after that, to make it possible with preparation and giving wider feedback. Special guest, also a really important person in our team. It was, of course, experienced Toastmaster with a big knowledge and creativity, who was responsible for giving educational speech to help participants with getting knowledge, some tips, and just see how something should look like. Generally, we had an idea to have special guests outside of our team, and every time it was someone else. So to make it more, let's say, fresh about the meeting and about the new energy coming every time, and also new perception about what we are doing, how we are performing, and how generally the meetings look like. We also had a case that our special guest was advisor's backup in case of absenteeism, one of advisors. And now it's time for questions, if there are any related to the last topic, to the last area.
No questions at this stage.
Okay, let's move on. About the sessions, because Adriana mentioned something about 6 or 8, and generally Speechcraft as a program offers from 4 to 8 meetings with the participants. As per manual, this is said that it should take from 1 to 2 hours. In our case, it was there were 4 meetings, 4 Mondays of October. And this is how it looked like. Generally, first meeting, we started from warm-up. What it was? Generally, it was a kind of really safe and painless, engaging people to talk. Warm-up was like presenting your colleague sitting next to you for about 30 seconds, maximally 1 minute. We also implemented table topics over there for the first time, but generally just a presentation. Table topic master was, of course, Toastmaster, and table topic speaker was also Toastmaster, one of us. The second meeting we had table topics with the people who were willing to talk. And we really had some volunteers who decided to give their first short speech. And also they had first icebreakers, first speeches, normally as per manual. Now, maybe a bit shorter due to the fact that we are really limited with time. As I told you, it was just 60 minutes. The third point, the third meeting and third section was consisted of table topics, speech introductions, and speeches. Obviously, after meeting number 2 and starting number 3, there was a task which was assigned to our proteges, to our participants, and every mentor was working with them to be prepared with speech introduction, with a speech, to give some tips about table topics, and so on. And the fourth meeting, which was the last one and also the longest one, consisted of table topics, speech introductions, prepared speeches, and obviously evaluations. Because after the meeting number 3, we informed them that they are going to be also evaluations. We'll be able to give constructive feedback to your colleagues. And due to this fact that the schedule for the fourth meeting is the biggest one in here, and obviously there should be summary, there should be some certificates and some announcement. This meeting lasted not 60 minutes, but 90 minutes. Here we've got project versus workshop roles. As you know, we had coordinator, organizer, advisors, a few of them, of course, and guests in our projects. And here you can see that there were also some meeting roles included for all of them. Guest, as I mentioned earlier, was responsible for educational session. And here are the meeting roles. During the meetings, we didn't have all of them, but we had obviously Toastmasters, that was the presenter, the conductor of every meeting, every section. It was a coordinator. We had also timekeeper, table topic master, general evaluator, speech evaluator, and obviously the speaker. In this case, the speaker means the special guest giving educational speech. And here is sample session agenda. Always we started with opening. This is intentionally with yellow background to highlight that our intention was to bring the energy. We need to remember that these people were after work because we started at 4:30 p.m. and finished 5:30 p.m. So generally it was 1 hour, but every one of them was after work. So we had to bring energy, be really enthusiastic, energetic, and really attractive with everything what we were offering. Later on, we moved to table topics, then educational session to make it possible to be prepared as much as possible for the next meeting. Then speeches and evaluations that were planned for this meeting from the previous one. Announcements about the location, about the hour, if anything changes or not, and also reminders about the homework, what topics are going to be prepared for the next session, and obviously the closing of the meeting. Any questions about this area?
We have one question from Jakub. Who gets a credit towards DTM? All functions involved or only the coordinator?
The credit from Speechcraft goes only to coordinator.
Thanks. That's all.
Okay, no more questions for this moment, right?
Right.
Let's move on. Of course, by the end of the workshops, it was on the final fourth meeting, we implemented evaluation survey. It was in paper. It was 1 page because generally we just wanted to have the answers, quickly. And the questions were open. There were closed questions as well. And the marks were from 1 to 4, just to make a decision clear, either good or bad. The content was related to us, to the leaders of these workshops, the organizers, about the skills that they would gain, or for example, they were missing, about their expectations, if they were fulfilled or not, about the time, if it was too long or too short, location, if the area, if the venue was good enough for this kind of workshops, are they willing to give recommendation for us or not, etc. And regarding the last point is distribution. We did it after all performances. As you probably remember from fourth meeting, these people gave speeches. They also gave speakers presentations to their colleagues, but also they evaluated them. So after all these efforts, we decided to hand them this service to be filled in, and straightforward after that, we just handed them out the certificates of completion. And here it is, appreciation. Appreciation is always needed. This is crucial, I would say. We had appreciation to the team, to co-organizers. It was in the shape of a certificate of recognition for professional workshop support, and there was also something sweet. And regarding our participants, we gave them certificates of successful completion of these public speaking workshops. And because we need to remember that great things, here it is written in business, but in my opinion, not only in business, are never done by one person. They are done by a team of people. It was said by Steve Jobs. I'm not sure if there are any questions right now about this area, or I can just move on.
Not exactly about this area, but continuing the DTM credit topic, there is one question asking if there is any description in Pathways on how to get the approval for the coordinator role.
How to get the approval for coordinator role?
Yeah, in order to be a coordinator. So if you're like applying somewhere in Pathways to get this role or to be approved in this role.
To be honest, I didn't get an approval for that. Generally, from my personal, let's say, case, I must say that it was one of my last requirements on the way to DTM. And generally, the only thing I am aware in Pathways about the requirements is the form that you need to write down and just fill the form about when it was done, and you served also as the coordinator. This is how it looks like in Pathways as per my knowledge, but maybe some of you may have some more knowledge or different information. So I would be willing to hear it.
Well, in my case, I did it before Pathways, and I just started it without any approval, and I did it, and then I needed the signature of the club presidents on the diploma that I was giving to the participants. So it was clear that I have done it, and then it was just the information was uploaded to Toastmasters International.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so for me personally, I didn't come across the information that there are some special requirements if someone may do it or may not. So if anyone is aware of that during this conference and willing to share it, I would really appreciate it.
There are no comments, at least in written. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. There is also a risk management slide from my side. This is rather about how to prepare, how to be proactive to avoid as many as possible unexpected situations. First of all is just be punctual, be early enough at the place. So generally it was, in my case, it was more or less 30 minutes before start. Sending agenda 5 days ahead. We are aware that every one of us is busy, has some profession. And generally, it was from my perspective really fair enough to my team. being in constant contact with organizer. This is really crucial because, as I told you, the organizer in my case, my colleague Justina, was the representative of that company. So she knew as the first one if, for example, there is no possibility to do this workshop today or any other unpredicted situation from my side. Also reviewing agenda before every meeting with whole team. We had just 5 minutes, but generally agenda was, one pager, so we were able to review it, especially that it was sent before the meeting. Also room and equipment to be ready on time, and just being ready as always for unforeseen circumstances. In our case, the biggest challenge was time, because we decided to do it within 60 minutes as per the limitation we had from the company. And I must say that sometimes I had an impression that we were running a bit. Fortunately, it was not, let's say, highlighted as a mistake or something which was wrong by our participants, because in this way we just kept the dynamics of the meeting. As you remember, they were after work, every one of them, and generally our intention was not to bore them after the working hours. But generally, I must say that if you would like to do something like us, to have the meeting with 8 people, the perfect time, not too long and not too short, but really convenient, I would say it's about 75 minutes. Room equipment. What would be needed for the meetings? For us, it was really important to have the whiteboard with the markers, because when we had just kind of warm-ups or situation that someone was giving evaluation to someone else, and for example, one person was a bit late due to some business calls, we had to act quickly and deliver the message in a clear and visible way. The second thing is pretty clear, I would say. It is a pen and a noteboard, really important and required if we are just taking notes, not only us as advisors and organizers, but only the people who are, for example, taking feedback from us, just to make some notes of what should be improved. Of course, you can always use the mobile phone, but if you, for example, decided to put it on mute and hide it in a bag, it's always, in my opinion, a good habit to prepare something like that. And obviously the video camera and sometimes projector, if you've got an idea like that. We didn't need it. We had a projector in the room, but we didn't need it. But generally about the video camera, I think this is good to have something like that, because we had some questions from our participants. Are we able to record our performances, our speeches, to look at them at home and see how we move, how we speak, how we behave at the stage? So this is also the good idea. And in our case, it came from our participants. If there are questions, please feel free to ask right now.
Not any at this moment.
Okay, it was the last slide from my side. For real, this is the last one. I would like to encourage you all to make the Speechcraft. It is really great experience, I must say, that I was really happy to start it, to conduct it, and to finish it. Every time I had a proof and a really good feeling that we did a good job. And generally, after each meeting, I tried to get some feedback also from my friends. And it was really encouraging to move forward when you heard that this was great, this was okay. The only thing is just, limitation of time, and therefore we decided to extend the last meeting to 90 minutes, which was a brilliant idea as well. I would like to encourage you to try it, to do Speechcraft. If you are on the way to DTM or not, generally this is a great experience, And I would like to wish you good luck with conducting it. And also using the opportunity, I'm still speaking. I would like to thank you very much for your attention and participation in this webinar.
Okay, thank you, Radek. And now it's also the time for you to ask questions if you have, and you can, I will unmute all of you now, be prepared. And you are all unmuted. So if you want to ask anything, maybe that's not a good idea. So are there any questions?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, it's Irina. How many corporate clubs you established in Poland providing Speechcraft program?
Just to be sure that I understood you correctly, how many corporate clubs we established after Speechcraft program? This is your question?
Yes.
So generally, from my personal perspective, it was the first Speechcraft I did so far. Mm-hmm. And generally, you know, the intention may be the building of corporate club, but to encourage people to join other Toastmaster clubs in our location. For example, I can tell you that after the meeting, we had people who were, let's say, asking about the continuation of this. We just invited them to Toastmasters meeting, but I would like to say this worth doing really gently because in my opinion, it should be done gradually, step by step. So far, 3 of these people visited Toastmaster Club in Łódź. They did not sign up yet, but we are in touch with these people. The rest of these people is in the constant contact with us as their advisors. So, you know, from time to time, we are just, you know, asking them about the plans, about their, let's say, intentions with using new skills, if they want to extend them or not. And generally, the good idea also is that other people from the company are still interested in these workshops. When is going to be second edition? This is the one of the most frequent questions directed to Justina in the company.
Mm-hmm. I understand. And which year your Speechcraft program was happened?
Excuse me, can you please repeat?
It was last year, your story about Speechcraft program with 60 participants.
No, generally it was in October this year. We did it this year, about you know, a few weeks ago. We finished.
I understand. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you too.
We also have a question from Elena, who asks if the organizer of Speechcraft you had in Poland was a Toastmaster member too. If not, how you persuade them to run it?
If the organizer was the Toastmaster too, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So in this case, we are in touch because this is my good friend. Generally, for this moment, she has got a break in the Toastmaster adventure, but generally, as per our conversation, she told me that she was planning to join to one of clubs in Łódź, and regarding the building new club or corporate club in the company where she is working in, that's, let's say, there's a question for the next conversation with her.
Okay, Elena, have I answered your question? Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Please only mark in the chat that you have a question and I will unmute you if you cannot unmute yourself. it seems that there aren't that many questions left. In the meantime, please observe that I have added a link to a feedback survey in the chat. So please, you can access it right now or copy and access it after the webinar. And we'd very much appreciate if you can fill it.
Yes, I will be very grateful to all of you folks for filling this service.
Okay. One more to go. Well, thank you all for participating on my behalf. I don't hear or see any other questions. So it's my time to thank you, Radek, for your presentation. And thank you all for participation. And if you have any other questions regarding Speechcraft in general to me or to Radek, please, you can post them in the Facebook event. Yes? Yes, hello, we are hearing you. Is there a question from the line? I suppose, was it in Romanian or?
Yes, it was. Sorry for that. It was not a question.
It was not, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so if there's anything else to be that you'd like to know, or you can ask the questions in the Facebook group or send email directly to me or to Radek.
Ok. Și pot să facem ăsta, deci...
So I would like to say thank you very much, Adriana, for organizing this webinar. I would like to thanks a lot to all participants for your questions, for your attendance, and I would like also to wish you all a great evening.
Okay, thank you, Radek. I will also add your email in the chat if that's okay with you as well.
Yes, it's okay with me.
Okay, good. Okay, so you have our emails in the chat, and you also have the feedback link. And one more time, thank you.
Thank you all once again.
Bye.
Bye.